Anything from Mike?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Communications reports of county executive, we have none. Perfection of proposed ordinances and reports of committee, 4066.
Repealing sections 900, 905, 906, 910, 915, 920, 940, 941, 942, 943, 944, 950, 951. Jackson County Code 1984 relating to ethics for county officials, employees, and board and commission members, and enacting in lieu thereof 28 new sections relating to the same subject with the penalty provision. Finance and Audit Committee.
Report from committee, please.
Mr. Chairman, the committee recommends perfection for the consent agenda, but I'll object to that and move for immediate perfection.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to perfect. All those in favor of the motion, sign of aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Scott, how about if we don't put this on the consent agenda, we'll rather just vote? So everybody can
I'll move that we have a vote on this.
So we want to suspend the rules so we can consider for adoption?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to suspend the rules. All those in favor of the motion, sign of aye.
Aye.
Motion's made and carried. Scott?
Move for adoption.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 4066 as amended. We can substitute. Is there discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank you and Scott and Greg for taking I know you guys have all invested a lot of man hours in this, and I know the county executives invested a lot of man hours, and none of this would have came together. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of soul searching to get this done, and without you guys all coming together and making this happen, it would not have happened. And I want to thank all of them for it, because there's been some real necessary changes made, and the county executive has been looking in the best interest of all of us, and you guys have been looking in the best interest of all of us, and I think it was a great marriage.
Henry, thank you very much, and thank you to the county executive for his leadership. But as so often happens as we do all these things through the year, we have people that really aren't recognized for all their hard work. And Mark Jones and Jay Hayden have just put in lots and lots of hours to do this, and many other things. And I know their plate was pretty full already, and they just kind of stopped what they're doing to make all this work. So Mark, thank you, Jay, so very much. I appreciate all both you guys do all the time. Is there any other discussion?
I just have one question, Mr.
Absolutely, please.
I guess because the legal department was so involved in redrafting all this, you all are comfortable that this doesn't conflict with anything else, or it'll pass muster?
We are. We believe that this is a comprehensive ethics code that we've needed for a long time. This is sort of we're reaching out into unknown territory to the extent that we're expanding through this ordinance of the responsibilities of a number of people. We've got our state ethics code. We have what is in the charter, and we have this, and there's a lot of issues in here, as you can imagine, but I think we're proceeding the right way, and I think it's a very valuable, positive step.
Well, I hope that you're right. I've often said if you have to try to legislate ethics, it probably isn't going to work. But, this at least will draw attention to the subject.
Absolutely.
Maybe that in itself will serve a purpose.
Well, and it certainly includes all public officials, the county executive, the prosecutor, the sheriff, all members of the legislature were certainly all included in this comprehensive package. And in fact, the work that has gone on this week, when Local 42 here expressed some concerns and had some questions, we worked very hard to make sure we address all those things. And I have a note here that they're very satisfied with this, which I think shows that they came with some legitimate concerns for their employees, and we've incorporated all that in. So, is there any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Did you
like
change slope to scope? Although I thought slope was pretty appropriate.
We fixed that, Mr. Spencer.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make one little sub note, and that is, I hope, I spent 20 years in Jefferson City and several years here, and I've given this somewhat of a read through, and I hope that we spend a great deal of time educating the employees on this, because I would hate to have an employee be in violation of this and not know. So I hope we direct personnel to really educate employees on what is the new law.
Mary Jo, will you call the roll? The motion to adopt the ordinance. It was Henry and Dan.
Garza Reese,
Yes.
Rizzo.
Yes.
Urbanis. Burnett.
Yes.
Tindall.
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Spence.
Yes.
Waits.
Yes.
8 yes, 1 absent.
The ordinance is adopted. 4071, please.
Mr. Chairman, before you go to 4071, if I could just,
Absolutely.
I thought I would just wait until it passed. You never know in life, but I just want to start to say, I think as everyone knows, this code is a result of countless hours of work by a lot of people, both inside this room and outside this room. I want to make sure that we thank Professor Eckhart and the other members of the committee that put together the lion's share of this document with some minor changes that have come later. Also want to make sure I thank Mark and Jay, the other members of this legislature that have worked a lot of hours over the last 7+ days to put this together in what I think is going to be a very good working document and a living document. This is the first foray into this field for Jackson County. I think for decades, ethics codes in Jackson County were two ideas that appeared inconsistent in many people's minds. I think this is an important step for this county. This is an important first step and should be a living document, and this is a document certainly we should revisit from time to time to make sure that it remains up to date, and make sure that it remains as consistent as necessary with the policies that we want to establish. This is a comprehensive code of ethics, as you said, Mr. Chairman, that is going to apply to all elected officials and everyone in county government. No one's going to be exempted. The standards we expect the secretary on the second floor to aspire to are the same standards we are going to apply to as elected officials. That's a very important policy point. We will all be held to the same high standards. But additionally, this is a credit to the 9 members of this legislature. I know Fred's not here, but I know Fred indicated his willingness to vote for this. This is a credit to all members of this legislature that you took what I think is a very important step here today. And that is you said to the people in Jackson County, the people in this public, that you were willing to subject yourself to this code, that you were willing by your own vote to voluntarily hold yourself to the standards that are contained within this code. That is a very important statement, but that's a very important point, and it makes a very important point about the direction of this government, about the direction of the 9 people that are on this body. There are very few legislators throughout this country who have taken the step that you've taken here today, so I think you need to be commended for that. I think this code is going to help ensure that the public's confidence in what goes on in this building will be ensured for years ahead. This is a very common sense code. This is a code that establishes, I think, a high bar of professionalism, a bar that we should all aspire to, but now a bar that we all must aspire to. And I think as a county, we've taken an important step forward here today. I didn't want to take up too much time, but I wanted to make sure that I commended all members of this legislature for taking what is an incredibly important step, public policy step forward, and an important step forward for Jackson County. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you very much.
Mike, thank you for your leadership and your comments. Do we have a motion to waive the reading of 4071, 72, and 73?
So moved.
We got a motion, second, waive the reading of those ordinances. All in favor of the motion, sign of aye.
Underline the language coming in. That having been said, if the clerk would prefer that we prepare it as a substitute, we'd be glad to do that. If it makes her administrative record keeping a little earlier, easier. But for purposes of the legislature's consideration, I thought it was important that everybody see exactly the language coming out and exactly the new language going in. And if there's anybody on the legislature who doesn't have the note that shows where those, I think there are 5 different changes, where those are, I've got an extra copy here for anybody that wants it.
Basically the red line version.
Pardon?
The red line version.
Yeah, it's the changes are on page 30, page 31 and 32, page 49 to 50, page 56, and page 57, 58.
I appreciate everybody's time and
Thank you, Jay, for all your time.